So it's the final day of Slam Dunk. I'm in Hatfield with Will of Creeper. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yep, good, thanks. So it's the third day. How are you energy level wise? Are you still pepped and raring to go?
I feel like even though these 2 days have been very, very busy and we've been getting partying a lot in the evenings as well, we're going to really take the level up tonight, you know, we're going to level up.
Big claim there.
Yeah, like in Pokemon, you know, we're going to level up and become the Charizard of the festival, and we're going to play a really, really excited about the set today, because it's Hatfield, it's basically London, and it's, you know, close to home as this festival gets for us, and so the shows we're very excited about, and I'm really, really excited about seeing all our friends in the other bands and having a drink afterwards as well. You know, you spend so much time on tour, and we make so many mates in other bands, but then you go off and separately and do different tours, and it took a while for us all, like, it's only events like this we all get together again and manage to hang out, so it's nice to see like Moose Blood and see the guys from Waster and Narwolves and all those guys.
This is like the party festival, I feel like, as well. There's always stories after Slam Dunk.
Oh yeah, they call it Slam Drunk, don't they? That's what they call it. So I think Slam Dunk's become like the yearly pilgrimage for any punk rock fan in the UK, and like a lot of metal bands as well now. So like, as an alternative kid growing up, it's amazing that we have a festival like this where it kind of spans a lot of the country now. We have Birmingham in the middle. Never used to be like that, which is really cool. So I don't know. I think it's really, really a positive thing, and I think they have the people who put this together, Ben Ray and JD and all those guys, have a really good ear for young bands coming through and do a lot to try and help younger bands.
Which is what we need. It's not easy.
No, it's awful.
I think people watching your story, though, because you've had such an amazing few months and you have so much buzz about you, people think it's been easy for you, but you've been plugging away for years. Do you kind of want to remind people that actually this hasn't been overnight for us?
I think like we've been I've been playing in touring bands since I was 18, and so for quite a while I've been doing this, but I think it's easy for people to be caught up in to be younger and not aware of what we've done before, and I can't really hold that to them. It's not their fault, is it? But I think it's really good, like that. I think I'm really proud of everything we've achieved, but it has been very fast. So I feel like all it means for the UK punk scene is good news, because it means that labels are starting to take chances on young punk bands again. For the longest time, I couldn't get anyone to listen to my music at all. It was really, very difficult. And the fact that now, it's the kind of the glass ceiling has been shattered to a degree, and it means that all of these young punk bands coming up have loads of options, and the sky's the limit now, I feel, and that's awesome. It hasn't been like that way for UK punk music since like the Household Record days, and all the Moonscar stuff when I was younger, all of the Deck Cheese record stuff, and I think now we're having a resurgence of punk rock in the UK. So festivals like this and are become really important. They're becoming a staple of the calendar for kids.
About time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I was watching some interviews with you, and you made a point saying how you kind of don't like a lot of what comes with being in a band. Like, you hate it when bands say, big news, coming soon and stuff. So how do you kind of make the balance of doing what you need to do, what your press people want you to do, what your manager wants you to do, but staying true to how you want to do it?
I think I feel like with our band, we're always trying to look at that. We always have this saying that there's a creative solution for everything. So like, there are times you have to hype an announcement that you're going to announce something. So instead of saying announcement coming soon, like this American tour, we went out into Camden to find these American flags and did really put a photo shoot together, which was really inconvenient, but we had to get it done before this last show of this tour. And had a photo we put up instead of like saying, oh, an announcement coming Monday. So trying to think visually and creatively with the same level of detail we have for our music and our visuals with our announcements and the way we interact with people online. I think trying to be intelligent about the way and treat those announcements like more than just picking yourself up and patting yourself on the back is how we try to approach it.
Keeping things interesting, innovative, doing it your way always.
Yeah, trying our best to retain the punk, the kind of ethics we learned growing up, and the way we approach our music and our craft craft, trying to have that kind of trickle down, or everything what we do, even in the mundane little things about how we put a post out on the internet.
Everything's thought out.
Yeah, everything's very elaborate with us.
Good. Now, I do a lot of kind of well-being and mental health stuff on my channel, so I just wanted to talk to you about how you deal with the stress of being a frontman, because quite often things like finish with you. Even if something goes wrong with the band, they'll look to you for an answer, for instance. So how do you deal with that pressure?
It's been getting a lot more intense recently with a lot of our fans. But ultimately, I think one of the main things about Creeper is everyone in this band has been in a similar place in our lives. Maybe some of us are still going through that now. And it feels, well, the greatest thing about doing the band is that the catharsis for us and the audience together is really tangible. You can kind of feel it. And like, so yesterday there was some kids that were crying, and we were kind of all together and talking about it, because I was that kid in the crowd watching bands when I was younger, and I know how kind of curing music can be, and aiding it can be, I suppose. And I want to. Now we've been really lucky enough to be put in this position, this privileged position of being on a stage and having a voice for those kids.
Yeah.
I kind of think about how I would want to be treated when I was younger, and how bands were to me. So we always try to make ourselves available and make ourselves able to talk to. Saying that, like, I still struggle with it immensely as well, like with anxiety. I think it's impossible not to. There are days on tour where the last thing I want to do is go on stage, and so I'm counting down the hours in my head to knowing that's coming up, and I'm getting all tense, and my throat kind of seems like that. It's really hard to sing.
That's not what you want.
No, it's not. But the great thing is, the most amazing thing is about Creeper is our audience. They're the spectacular kind of devotion people have to us, and I feel the funny thing is, I don't really feel. I know a lot of bands trying to break down that barrier between the audience and the band. I feel like that really is truly the case with our band. I feel like the music is a part of, but like it's a broader thing, and we all kind of are from the same sort of place. We're all kind of odds and sods.
Yeah.
Creeper's made up of a bunch of people who were either kicked out of their old bands because they weren't the right shape or the right size. That's honestly true in some cases, or people who have had other people in their bands give up on those ideas and that way of life, and so we're all kind of odds and sods, and I think that's the great thing about our audience. You have really young kids, really young girls and dudes who are really young, and you have much older people who are like in middle-aged mums and things that come without children, just really like the music and like the kind of some of what we're about. And then you have hardcore punk kids, you have kind of these goth kids, you have this real mix of people, like a melting pot of all different kind of subcultures. And what's really cool is there was a moment sometimes, and it doesn't happen every day, but some days it was just right. If the show's going really right, the whole crowd moves as one big unit, and the band with the crowd, and it becomes like an energy, like more than. I sound like a hippie talking about this stuff, but that's how I feel it is, and I think that we all benefit from that. The band, it's not about us being rock stars. It's about all of us being a little bit out of place, but for 1 minute, for a half an hour set, we're all just one big unit, and that's really special, and it's something that you can't buy, you can't market, you can't. For all of our detractors who would say that there was a campaign behind it or something like that, I think that's really silly, and I don't think you could understand.
Very cynical to think like that.
Oh yeah, but like you know, unfortunately for the position we're in, like it's I don't know if people are saying that. I'm just assuming. But like, that's really unimportant what those people are saying, because we're having such a fun time at these shows, and it's so important sometimes. There was a point last year where it went beyond us just playing music, and it becoming something really quite special to us at least. And so even as the shows are slowly getting bigger now, and I still feel that we're having those intimate moments where we're all forgetting what's going on outside of that building and just enjoying all being together in one place. And you don't get that so often anymore. Everyone's on their phones a lot, and everyone's distracted. I'm one of those people as well.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, exactly. But the magic of being at a show like that, is one of the last great things, I think, and it's one of the last great things for young people to go out and actually enjoy an event and a show. And I think we're very, very lucky to be more than just being signed to a label to be doing this. Like, we're very lucky and blessed to have our audience there and them to be in the same sort of place as us and be very similar people.
Does it kind of make you worry about your growth, and as you get bigger that will dwindle somewhat? And have you got things in place that you think, well, when it happens, we'll start doing this or more of that?
I think for those sorts of things, I look to the bands that were important for me growing up and the way they dealt with those sorts of things. And I think as the music and the message is important to retain in what we do, everything that we put out, and in our interviews like this, talking about these sorts of things is really important. Of course, it's harder when there's more people, but like on the Andy Black tour we just did, we were meeting 300 kids a night after the show. We always try our best, but some days it's impossible. But I don't think it's always necessarily about. I think you can have that moment in a big room, you can have that moment in a basement in a club, and seeing a band play in a living room. And I've done that. I've had those moments, those are euphoric moments. And I've seen those bands at the Joiners in Southampton, where it's been a really quiet night, and I've watched this band. They've blown my mind. One moment in a song has made me feel a bit better. So I don't think it's necessarily about the size we are or the venue we're in. It's about everybody being having a common ground. Like the whole idea of the back patches is that it's something that's can include everybody. And
unifying.
So, yeah, exactly. So we're all a bit fucked up, and but it's okay, because for the time we're together, everyone's exactly the same. And I don't think that matters on the scale it is, if it's really big or it's really small. I think it's just important that that's in place.
Good answer. Very good answer. Now, you've got quite a mixture of influences between you as a band. So does that mean that every album could be potentially extremely different moving forward? And does that become a problem for like labels and stuff that can't pigeonhole you, because they love to put you in sectors and genres, don't they?
Yeah, I think that in terms of like our output, a genre-based output, it's not really something that kind of crosses our mind very much, but I do think that's right. I think that like we're very likely to. We have 3 very different EPs, and I think we're going to have, going forward, we'll have different albums as well. I think that you can only write if you're being true to yourself and to your craft, and you're not just selling something and just doing that and marketing it to an audience or to a demographic, or trying to play as part of a certain type of scene and make the songs and the sound that's as of now. I always think Creepers, like for anything anyone could say, we're not a hip band. We're not like something that's in fashion. I feel like if you're focused on your art and what you're doing, you don't really think about that anyway. You just kind of make the record that's relevant to you at that exact moment. Yeah. Like, I can't sit down and write you a song for the radio. I'm just not capable of doing that. I'm not the right person to hire for that job. I couldn't do that for you. But I could write you a song about how things are going right now, or like a situation or a topic. I can do stuff like that. So it's really all about whatever project we're working on at the time, and however that sounds is however that sounds. I can't be worrying with the will of our audience, like in terms of that. I just have to be true to myself and hope that people respect that.
Do you want to stunt your creativity in any way? Do you just want to let it flow and do a snapshot of you at that moment? I think like everyone is a creative person. I think everyone is a creative, and I feel like so everyone must know exactly, like if they were asked that question as well, I think they'd all answer the same way. You just want to make what's right for you at that time, and I don't approach Creeper like a business, and I never will, and I see it as a creative art project, and every time we do something, it's a different part of that project. It's kind of like when you did art in school and you had there was a group of you, you're doing a team project or something like that. That's what we do with this, and I love this. I love Arcade Fire. Arcade Fire are my favourite bands, and now there's more of us. There's 6 of us now, which is really uncommon for a punk band like us, and
especially like from the scene we're from. So I always try to look at us like Arcade Fire, where their records are very different each time round, and try and reinvent themselves. And I don't want to be bored. I don't want to be. I don't want this to become unfun. So because when it becomes not fun to do anymore, we'll stop doing it. And so I want to keep it fun and fresh and exciting, and something that stimulates me as much as it does someone else. So.
Not just to appease people.
Absolutely not.
No. Now, do you find you're more prolific in times of torment and sadness, or when you're happy and life's good?
I don't think I write very well if I was happy, and I don't think I'd be very good at that. I think that I think creativity is really, really important. There's some certain factors you have to keep in place to make that the best thing you can do. So, for example, if you had unlimited time in a recording studio, you had unlimited access to as many instruments as you could, and you could do whatever you wanted, you'd make a record that just sucked. Like, I think it's better to be have constraints, time constraints, and deadlines, and a struggle to a degree. And the same goes for lyric writing. That's a very practical talk about making a record, but also like lyric writing and put yourself through that. If you've got nothing to sing about, then you probably shouldn't bother singing at all, you know. Finding a conviction to go sing every day is important as well. Like, as soon as you lose that spark off in your eyes, people can see, and people know that you don't mean that song anymore. And that's why you have to be selective about what you play. I think it's all about serving the song, and that's what we try and we talk about a lot as well in our band is, does that serve the song? Does it make sense for you to put a solo here? Or does it make sense for you to play 3 chords for this whole song? Like, whatever the song needs is what we give it. And lyric-wise, I feel like you have to serve the song as well. You have to find what you feel that song's about and put something honest and true into it. I couldn't sing something that was false. And if I was, the theme, overarching theme of our band is how the terrifying fear of growing older and time running out. And I don't feel like I could write about that if I wasn't truly like
terrified about it. Yeah. I'm with you on that one at the moment. I'm at that age now where the days just go like terrifying. So I've just got to wrap it up now. So what did you learn from your gigs with Funeral for a Friend, because they're momentous last gig, but also Andy Black for his first shows in the UK? What did you take from those experiences?
Well, we try to treat each tour we ever do as like a learning curve and try and take a little something from each one. Funeral for a Friend, we learned a lot. Like, Matt taught me about warming up a lot before. I was just the sort of guy who'd just get drunk and try and go and sing, and couldn't work out why I was getting worse at singing. And he only taught me some warm-ups, but also he taught me like, next year we're going to do a headline tour, and I want to help a band out like Funeral helped us out, because we're going to be doing bigger rooms, and so I want to be able to do the same thing that he gave us. I want to help younger bands out because I know how hard it is to struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. So Matt taught me like a real. He absolutely blew my mind with how much he gave to us. Watching those players, how down to earth he was, and how like he would walk from the stage straight to the merch and meet every single person there. That was incredible. Andy is one of the last great rock stars. He has this incredible control of the audience that only comes from like mastering that craft and doing that over and over and over again. And the way he had the audience in the palm of his hand at all times is something you just don't see every day. It was really, really impressive to watch. And also how kind he was. Like, he doesn't need to champion Creeper. We're not a band he's gaining anything from doing that. Those shows would have sold out without us being on them. But he really believed in us and helped us the same way Matt did. And I think that like people like that are really rare to come by in this world. People that like your band, like what you're about, and want to support you. And I'm desperate to try and make sure that in our band we retain that exact ethic and do our best to support bands that are coming up as well.
I think you will. I think you will. Oh God, shall we end on that horrible pun? Sorry guys. Thanks for talking to me today.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.